All right.
Yo, welcome back to the Catalyst Effect podcast. This is Klaus. With me as always is my boy Missy. What's up, brother? How are you today?
What's up? What's up, man? I'm doing great. Um,
Awesome.
kicked it with Mike yesterday. Met him for the first time in real life, and that was dope.
Dude, that's awesome. I'm so glad that Mike is here in Orlando. I definitely got to catch up with him at some point. Also with us is Hado. What's up, my boy? How are you? How's your week been?
Yeah, I've been fighting through a cold or allergies or something, but I feel like we're at the tail end of it. But I'm here and I'm ready to go.
That is what's up. That is what's up. And boys, today we have a super special episode. We have a very special guest with us is Connor from XBORG. What is up, Connor? Super hyped to have you on the show, man. I hope you're well and welcome to the Catalyst Effect.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, really keen to be here. Looking forward to this episode. Big fans over at XBORG of you guys, and yeah, keen to.
Hell yeah, man. Well, listen, we're super happy to have you on the show. Just to give a quick shout out, we are live on X, Twitch, and YouTube. So make sure to check us out there. We'll be looking at the chat and saying hello to a few people that come on the show. Also, if you have any questions for Connor and Esport, make sure you type it up and we'll bring it up on the show. But listen, Connor, I always like to start the show with like a little introduction from our guests and give them kind of like the stage to introduce themselves and like the company they're working with. So for anybody that's out there that's new and haven't heard of Sborg, can you give us a quick rundown of what exactly is Sborg and how you guys came about and what is the main goal you guys are trying to accomplish right now?
Yeah, sure. So I guess XBORG. Well, we've actually been around for about 2 years now. I would say in March is our 2 year anniversary. We're a spin-off company from Swissborg. So Swissborg is a large crypto exchange or wealth app. Um, and yeah, our basically we're a Web3 tech company. We really believe that players should, but they should also own their gaming reputation, their data. That should be their identity, and all their data shouldn't just be stuck in one game like Counter Strike, for example. They should be able to use all of their skills and reputation across all the different apps and games they enjoy, and it should open up opportunities for them. So basically, applications that allow players to create their identity and then use that identity. Um, yeah, that's I guess XBorg in a nutshell. Happy to dive into different parts of it. If you guys have any questions, and yeah.
No, absolutely, dude. And I love that answer. We'll definitely get into more into like the platform that you guys are currently working on and building. I wanted to throw it to Hado and see if he wanted to bring up anything up about what he just heard, man. Hado, I'm gonna bring it to you, boy.
Yeah, kind of like how did you guys get started in this business? I think it's a very good practice to kind of give people the I guess you could say like the right to their own data, so to speak. Because I think it's a lot of things that we take it for granted. So like, how did you guys come to this venture and this decision of like where you wanted to go for this trajectory?
Yeah, I think well, we have quite a visionary founder. So Louis Regis at Swissborg for a brief period of time and was chatting with the founders there, Anthony and Cyrus, and basically, they were very interested in GameFi, basically how blockchain could really revolutionize the gaming industry today. And one of the big kind of problems they saw was this kind of silo of data, the fact that players weren't empowered, obviously to own their assets, but also then to own their experiences and their history and their data and all that kind of stuff. And then the really exciting part is, well, once you own your data and you have control over all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And that's kind of the utility side, the really exciting part. And so that's kind of how we started on this journey. Swissborg was really helpful when it came to uh, starting the company, connecting us with all the right people, from investors to partners, and give head start. They've obviously been in the game for quite some, are really experienced. So that was fantastic. And then we hired, so just been connecting with really awesome people in Web3 gaming. As you guys know, there's some really awesome people out there and some really cool projects. And I guess that's basically how we got started.
I love to hear, and the fireside spaces that you guys hosted kept us cozy during the bear. So I appreciate you guys for that, because it was nice to have a place that was consistently just there throughout the entire bear market. Because during the Web3 gaming bear market, there were a lot of times where you would start seeing people one week and then the next week they were disappearing. So I think a lot of us resonate with XBORG just based on its lasting power so far. And with that, like, what was your favorite moment during the bear with XBORG, right? Because I mean, that's like a low moment. And for us, like, our was creating Catalyst during the bear, because we were a bunch of random dudes that were kind of just bored and understimulated. So that's the best way I would put it. So with something like XBORG that was born during what was probably a more bullish time in the market, doing those weekly spaces with fireside chat and going through the bear market together, like, it has to build a special type of camaraderie, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's such a great question. And you're right, it was such an interesting time, the last 2 years, the last 4 months, that everything's been positive and exciting. We had quite a bit of a period where things were looking quite down. But there was, like I said, a small group of guys or people in the space that were there for the right reasons, like you guys, like so many others in Web3 gaming. Really enjoyed the fireplace spaces, that we've been hosting, because one, you get to connect with so many cool people. So I'm so glad we started it for that reason. Much in the space by interviewing different people from different backgrounds. And there's different founders that are really strong in different areas, and you can things from them. But I think, during the 2 years, besides the spaces that we did, we also hosted over like 250 esports tournaments on Web3 games only. It's like insane. So that many tournaments. We decided to go all in on tournaments with community gaming, and basically, just try to connect with as many games, and bring that kind of like competitive esports spirit into Web3, because that's mostly, well, that's kind of my background, and we all really like esports and playing competitive games. So yeah, that was my highlight of the bear market, was hosting these tournaments, watching the guys play. We even signed some of the best Eve players. We're on the hunt for like the best teams, and so we had like really good Gods and Chain players, Illuvium players. Obviously, you still have these guys in our community, but there was on Web3, and tournaments kind of kept that alive, and that was exciting to watch. I guess I'm sure you know of 3XP in June last year. There was some pretty cool like lands and stuff throughout the last 2 years where we got to watch some of the players play on stage, and that was awesome.
I had a question for you real quick. So Team BDS, that partnership, I noticed you guys brought that in to bring in like onboarding players and kind of bridging the gap between fan, player, and then the team. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership and how that's kind of brought up the whole endeavor that you guys are doing?
Sure. Yeah, of course. So basically, we have our gaming credential layer, which we've built. So that is like the back end tech that allows players to, well, it retrieves data from Steam, Epic Games, Riot, and all the social platforms to put it on chain. But now you need one, players to access this data, and two, you need applications as like the middleman between the player and the credentials. And now basically what we've done with Team BDS and multiple other teams, as well as what we're doing with Gamerbase, is these are the applications in between the credentials and the players that we have built so that we can start identity of players. And now this doesn't really work, a gaming protocol or ecosystem doesn't work without, a lot of players. So we had to kind of figure out, okay, how can we onboard millions to Web3 and help them build their identity while they playing games and connecting with their favorite communities. And our kind of solution to that was one, Gamerbase. So we kind of feel questing platforms, tournament platforms, all the kind of secondary gaming apps outside in the industry at the moment are a bit lame, and they're not really that gamer focused. And so we've completely gamified our app and the way communities can engage with users. So that we can, basically make it really fun for gaming communities and for players to interact with gaming communities. So we've created like, each gaming community on Gamerbase has a 3D digital avatar if they pay the paid subscription. And this is like a customizable, 3D avatar that communities can reward their players with digital items, companions, all that kind of stuff. These can be NFTs, these can have utility. But if they're on like the freemium tier, they can, we build them custom cards that will have their stats on it and represents their ID as well. So now that's kind of how we connect with gaming communities and onboard lots of players and help them build identity while they're in the community. But for some other brands that are perhaps a lot bigger, like you mentioned, Team BDS, and there's sports teams that we've currently signed that are a bit bigger than. We built in a custom fan app on top of the Gamerbase tech stack. So we've taken the and built a custom front end for them with their branding. We've basically built them a 3D avatar with all their kind of different weapons and items and stuff, and obviously their team branding. And then they kind of get their own custom fan app. They can onboard their players and create events, challenges, tournaments, Valorant, League of Legends, what reward their community and their fan base in a much cooler way. And so partnership is just that. We build the BDS fan app. It's called My BDS. You can actually sign up for early access at the moment, get on the wait list. And that's what we do with every esports team that we partner with. They actually pay us to build them their own custom fan app, how they connect with their community to boost, open up new revenue streams, it's really exciting. It's not like that, the usual Web3 fluff marketing partnerships that you see.
Yeah, we hate those, man.
We're actually a little bit of alpha here. Sorry, announcing our second esports team partnership on Tuesday. So stay. It's gonna be pretty hype.
Ooh, okay. Damn. Now my mind's wandering. Like, who could it be? I guess I have to wait till Tuesday. But man, I love that answer because the way you kind of like bring your fans into not necessarily into Web3, but more into more fandom of like the team that you're supporting. That's what Web3 is enabling in this instance, and I really like that you guys have found a way to utilize the technology to bring on. I kind of think of it like the fan tokens that it made for the Premier League, actually. where they kind of made a tailor-made experience to those fans of those football teams. And now we're seeing that happen with the Web3 or with the esports side, utilizing this technology. So I really like that answer. And I think it's a really good use case that a lot of esports orgs should, opt in and figure out, like, hey, there's a lot of opportunity here when it comes to being there's a lot of opportunity when it comes to bringing more value to Web3, but just also to, like, I could be a fan of this team now, and they're supporting me in a way that I never thought was possible. And Web3 is kind of enabling this. So it's kind of interesting to see how you guys have gone about that.
No, man, I think the gamer identity thing is super sick. Quick question for you, because Hado completely like threw me off my trajectory with, he always does this to me, right? Me and Hado, we have like this brotherly kind of like rivalry, like shit talking thing that we do. And the second I'm on a roll, he interrupts me. The second he's on a roll, I interrupt him. He's like this old dude that needs controller support for PC gaming and stuff like that.
You just woke up at 1:20 calling me old.
That's because I was up until 6 a.m., my boy. But
same here.
Out of all the esports tournaments, because you mentioned that you guys hosted like 250 esports tournaments throughout 2023, right?
And 2 years.
What was your favorite game to in 2 years? Okay, what was your favorite game to watch people compete in? And did you personally play in any of them? Like, what was that experience like? Because, as you know, like, we ran the Paladins Community Cup, and that was a little more of a spectacle, right? But I couldn't imagine like having to produce that every third week. And you obviously probably had like a consistent roster of games and stuff.
I mean, firstly, congrats on the Paladins Cup. That was an awesome tournament. It was really cool. Really loved competing in that, and so did all the other teams. Said at the end, they were like, this, was super cool. And it's tricky to do, to set up tournaments and host them. It's not easy sailing all the time. But so
definitely not.
250 tournaments. Some of them were, really quick one-day tournaments, not streamed, all that kind of stuff. And then some were, we actually hosted a $100,000 multi-game. It was like 5 different game league with Brave software or Brave browser. And that was like a 5-month tournament. So most of them were little like one-day, knockout tournaments for $100. And then some were like, we had the one big one, but some were, a bit bigger. But also, you said which game did I like? I guess I really enjoyed watching the Eve games because we were super, competitive with Eternity, the Eternity, the clan. So XBORG and Eternity were always the top two, and we were always like battling it out, which was exciting to watch for me. And then you mentioned which games did I compete in.
Yep.
So I was playing Rocket League for, I think it was during like 2022 and 2023 competitively, which was super fun, but obviously not a Web3 game.
That's cool.
It wasn't competing in any of our tournaments.
Dude, that's awesome. And I'm glad you brought up the EVIO, right? Because that's when I really found out about XBORG for the first time, or at least saw a bunch of members like in the game, And by the way, I got absolutely destroyed by XBORG members the first time I played EV, and it was horrible. But definitely, you guys are huge in that game and are complete beasts on it. But I wanted to ask you, because obviously with the esports side of things, right? You guys definitely have the team obviously competing in League of Legends, Rocket League, Rainbow Six, those type of titles that we see in the traditional gaming world, right? And you mentioning EVIO, I wanted to ask you, is there really any ecosystems or games that you guys are really scoping out to start building that esport culture in the Web3 side?
That's a great question. It was tricky to and think, okay, which games are going to be esports titles, especially because esports, that where traditional sports is difficult. I think we've just seen the I don't know if it was Overwatch or Apex Legends, the league was struggling, and traditionally
Yep.
last year FaZe didn't do well. Evil Geniuses shut down. A lot of prize pools got cut. So how many Web3 games are actually going to be esports competitive? I would say in the next 10 years, longevity wise. However, we have been Illuvium is obviously a big one. We host Illuvium tournaments once a month, and then we host another one with and then Shrapnel is looking really exciting. Dead Drop is looking really exciting in terms of esports. Obviously, Dr. Disrespect is more competitive focused, and then Wildcard looks really interesting. Very excited to see how that's going to be competitively. But besides those, I don't know if any like what it takes to be a huge esports title.
Yeah.
Or yet,
No,
maybe something else will come out and shock us all.
I totally get what you mean, man, because me personally, I always bring the argument that esports, at least in the traditional gaming side, right? And I think in general, it revolves heavily around viewership, right? Like how many eyes are looking at this competitions happen or this matches happen, right? And that's how big companies like to get involved in esports, right? And you're more than welcome to disagree, but I just personally, I don't think our space is there yet. Half of it is due because of the big stigma that people, like, oh, traditional gamers don't really like Web3 games, right? So do they even want to watch it, right? Do they even want to watch the highest competition level go at it in these games, right? So I think there's a lot of barriers still that need to be overcome to have a really strong esports scene in the Web3 side of things. But I'm glad to hear you bring up games like Wildcard, Illuvium, Shrapnel, and Death Drop, because I do think like higher tier graphic titles are going to have a better chance at achieving an esports scene. But what do you think about indie games? Is there any chances there for like any indie developers to have a competitive scene as well?
I mean, when you say competitive scene, of course, I think there can be quite a few games with a competitive scene. Now, is it going to be a worldwide, global esports? That's a much different topic and conversation, and it's extremely difficult to do. You have to compete with some really big guns for attention there, and they've got way more money, and they've got the players and the ecosystems. I'm a big Rocket League fan, and Epic just bought Rocket League last year. They esports didn't do so well last year. They just fired a lot of league team, and they cut the prize pool down now by $2 million. It's going to be tough for a Web3 game coming up to just take over esports. It's going to be difficult.
I want to.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
I want to hop in real quick. I think another thing too that we're missing in this conversation is the local aspect of it. Because if you look at an event like 3XP, it did capture a little bit of attention with some of the titles they had, because they had a local tournament where all the people were flown out to location and they competed. And so I think Web3 needs to focus more on IRL events as well when it comes to these tournaments or games, to then bring it into market, not only just for viewership online, because 3XP was not bad on the viewership. They had a lot of big personalities, and I'll get to that point in here in just a second. But I think more IRL events is going to bring the competition a lot better, because you're not going to have all these ping issues and stuff. And so I think more regions need to like focus on doing IRL events in their own regions and kind of bring up the community that way. And then I think personalities, inviting them out to promote these games and market these games, and maybe not compete in tournaments, but be there as a representation of the game, of the entire ecosystem and economy that Web3 is creating, I think is going to bring a lot of hype. If you look at the Dr. Disrespect event with the dead drop snapshots, he brought all sorts of personalities from Web 2 to Web 3, and those kind of personalities brought interest into the game. Now, the game itself, we could talk about that and say, well, is the game ready? Maybe not so, but the hype that was built around dead drop was created by all these events. So I think IRL events is another thing that people can focus on when it comes to how we can make I don't want to say Web3 gaming great again, but like, just to bring it relevant to the esports scene, because the more events that we do that, the more it'll be in people's brains and eyes and be like, oh, wow, this is a real asset class that I can invest into. And there's gaming here, and there's personalities that I trust or follow that are, being the mouthpiece of the industry.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I have to agree with that. I mean, go ahead, Connor.
Sorry, I think there's a little bit of delay, so I want to jump in. I'm always like interrupting you. Sorry about that, but I agree with the IRL. We should do IRL events now. I don't think they all are that profitable. So if you get it wrong, it's tough. It could cripple a company for sure. But what you could back on a really successful event, successful every year. Like everyone was in Miami for that event the other day. All the NFT people, I can't remember what it's called. Everyone was posting about it. We'd love to go in and set up an esports tournament with 5 games there, because you're going to get tons of foot traffic. Everyone's going there already. You don't have to fly players out. You can get you can just piggyback off the traffic that's already there, instead of going off and making a whole new one. Yeah, and I think we should do that way more often.
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you guys, man. I think LAN events are always like the route to go with esports, but I agree with Connor, right? Like, it does come with a lot of like expenses to think about and get the right formula in so that it can be a profitable thing, right? And it's sustainable, right? Because you don't want to just do one event and call it off. You want to have this happen reoccurring every year, right? So I think the idea of using other events are already like bringing that traffic through and partnering with those type of events, and maybe having like some type of like stage set up where you can do LAN events is super smart, and something that we should definitely explore more in the Web3 gaming side. But I wanted to bring it back a little bit to gamer base, Connor. I wanted to ask you, because I saw that you guys had onboarded, games like Shrapnel, Bushi, and a bunch of others, right? Are you guys moving forward? Are you concentrating a little bit more on onboarding like more guilds, right? Like other teams, like especially in the Web3 side of things? And how do you guys plan to navigate, or do you even want to navigate, of finding like real gamer guilds, or more like what people know in Web3 as guild, which is like the DeFi groups, right? That are like concentrating in like token building and stuff like that. Is there a world in your platform in gamer based where both type of communities can live?
So we already have, we're onboarding. Well, we've announced Shrapnel, and I nearly dropped the name that I wasn't supposed to. We've already announced Shrapnel, Bushi, and I think throughout this show, I must be careful with the names, especially the esports. So we've been onboarding Web3 gaming communities, which is cool. Great games, great communities. I love those kind of guys. But we're also, especially next month, onboarding Web2 gaming communities. We're onboarding a few leagues, esports leagues, traditional gaming communities as well. I don't know so much about DeFi kind of guys, because the gamer base is set up, for gamers, and it's really a hub. Recognizes how gaming communities interact with players, and so we've really built it for players. and gamified it that way. We kind of built it in the sense that you should feel like you're playing your favorite MMORPG, and when you're interacting with your avatar, it should feel like one of your favorite games. And so we're going to be focusing on gaming communities, mostly Web 2 and Web.
Yeah, and that's why I disagree about the land event. Personally, I know you guys are cool and everything, but that experience doesn't really come to life unless you're doing things more digitally, in my opinion. Because it has like this very metaversal kind of appeal to it, where it's like, hey, we're doing all this stuff online. We're being able to compete against whoever. Obviously, there's ping issues and things that need to be sorted out, but I think that's like a problem that should be solved. I don't think it's from in some capacity. And the idea of having like a metaverse esports tournament is sick to me because it's cost effective. It's a lot more friendly for anyone to participate in from any part of the world. So I would have to disagree with you guys when it comes to the LAN events, based on what Connor just said. Like, you want to feel like you're in your favorite MMORPG. I can't do that at a LAN event. I have to actually interact with some sort of digital world to really feel like I'm in an MMORPG personally. Uh,
I,
is that like how you guys see it, Connor, or am I totally off base here?
In terms of gamer base or IRL LAN events?
In terms of gamer base, right? Like, does the IRL LAN event get in the way of something like that? Is it complementary to the LAN experience? Like, how do you?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think it's complementary to a LAN experience. We're trying to, like you said, kind of like bridge the two worlds. And, especially, so if I take it back to the esports kind of POV, the esports team POV, because essentially we build these custom apps on top of GamerBase, and so they're getting the same functionality as all the gaming communities. Now, traditionally, teams have all their fans scattered across, as you know, different games. They're with each other. If I watch Rocket League, you watch League of Legends, we never really interact, even if we both support G2, for example. So, you watching on Twitch, I'm watching on YouTube, chatting on Discord perhaps, and all the fans are kind of scattered all over. And like you said, in the same way that, fans come together at a LAN event, we kind of built these fan apps the same way where, you get all your G2 fans in one place, which is the app, and then you can build out these digital experiences for them as if they're in their own RPG with their own avatar. G2, for example, could build out Valorant events and tournaments on League of Legends and Rocket League quests, and have these really cool digital items tied to it. They can do activations with sponsors, like I think G2 is sponsored by BMW. We could do some cool cross IP kind of digital items for them, and they could tie that to, well, you have to watch the stream for 2 hours and then win 5 League of Legends matches to unlock this, and this gets you utility for this thing. So you could even tie it to physical events as well. When you're at the LAN, you can do activations physically at the LAN and then also digitally in the app. And I hope that answers your question. But that's kind of our thinking behind GamerBase, was to have this more digital kind of metaverse world that helps the real life interaction as well.
So I have a quick question on that note. It's kind of reminding me of like how Amazon kind of has like a reward for players in game for like a skin or something. Do you guys ever envisioning your guys' app getting to that point where you kind of like do a quest and get a reward in game? Is that what you guys are trying to aim for someday?
You're saying like you do a quest on our app and then you get a reward in game?
Yeah, and that would be like through the partnership or collaboration with like a G2 or a BDS.
That's something we could definitely do for sure. Now, it's way easier to do that in Web3 at the moment because we, so much closer to the developers, and they are also getting really excited because they're saying, okay, cool. Well, now what data can you pull, and how can we make this more exciting for players, and then what can we do to reward them on this side? The developers of the games are getting more excited. We're chatting a lot to Coco from Army of Fortune Verse, and she was getting pretty amped after trying Gamerbase out. She was like, "Wait, I think I can chat to the dev team and we can unlock some more functionality here." So we will be doing, we will be pushing the boundaries within games, and I think the end goal for us is really okay, now you have your digital identity or your gaming reputation. How can you have a unique experience in game based on who you are? So the same game is different for everyone, based on who they are. Like there's games like, let's say, Witcher 3, where you decide different things and you get 10 different endings. Now imagine you have different gaming experiences based on what type of player you are or your identity.
I love that, man, and I think it helps out games a lot, keeping people engaged and keep people involved in the game itself, making it more. And I think too many people are trying to take like a very, I don't want to say extractive, but like that it's either something where it's not necessarily benefiting the game as much as it could, and that's what makes me bullish on gamer base overall. Like as I hear you talk about it, I see something where if I was a developer, I would actually want to work with this, right? Because it kind of helps me keep my community entertained more. And I'm also gonna have to shout out the fact that thankfully your favorite game from XBORG this year was well during the tournaments and stuff was Eve. 'Cause I was talking to Joao and Paladins, and this guy tried telling me Illuvium, and I was like, "Bro, what? Get out of here!" And then he's like, "Yeah, I'm just not that sweaty, man." And I was like, "Nah, bro, nah." It's like I don't know. When I think of Xborg, I think of like a very sweaty organization, right? We
Yeah.
had you guys in the Paladins Community Cup, and it was just domination. And you got Joe out. He's like, "Yeah, Illuvium." I was like, "What? Why?" um,
Yeah, I love it.
but with a game like Illuvium, he doesn't what?
No, I mean, Joao doesn't know what he's talking about. I have to say that guy's he's too old. He's washed. Hope he's listening to this right now. But he was a big E fan. He was actually the one recruiting players, um, and making sure, yeah, they had the best experience, and making sure we had the most crack teams on all the games. And so I think Joao is the most competitive out of all of us, actually, to be honest with you. He's an ex CS pro, and although he doesn't play anymore, he still like kind of plays through the XBORG team and the XBORG players. So I think we're always going to be a sweaty org, even if we, like a big tech company one day. We'll probably always have an esports team or an esports like arm, and my heart and Joao's heart's definitely going to be there for sure. Love esports, and yeah, we'll definitely be supporting the boys, and making sure we're winning tournaments and stuff like that.
So
Hell yeah, dude.
when it came to, sorry, I just had man, because he's in Paladins and he's actually been a really big part of the community over there. So it's I just like trash talking him a little bit, but came to gamer base, right? You guys started in esports first, it would seem. Um, where was that moment that you guys were like, "Oh shit, we need to build basically digital identities to increase this experience"? Um, like, were you up on the team at that time? Were you a part of the conversation? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, so I was like employee number 5. So I started when Expo was like 3 months old, which was great because it's been awesome to be in on the ground floor and help shape the company. And we've all kind of grown with the company as well over the 2 years. It feels like
Oh,
player. That's the next thing. That's what players need. They need to be empowered at every stage. And so that's kind of always what our goal and vision is going to be. It's like, how can we empower players in the short term, in the medium term, in the long term? And that's, that dictates everything we do, when it came to tournaments and the launch pad, which we were focusing on for the first year while we were building Gamerbase. It was like, okay, how can we empower players? Cool. Well, let's be the guys that host tournaments for them, give them cool prizes, make sure that, we help these games and create like a vibrant Web3 gaming community, and then also the launch pad. It's like, okay, how can we, what Louis always says, players, well, the next generation of games and applications should be owned and then shaped by players. And so letting them invest at an early stage and then their voice be a part of the direction of the game or the direction of the app or project has always been really important for us. So Launchpad was, so that we did a Launchpad for those reasons, that we could offer those kind of opportunities to our community and to the wider community. And so that's kind of, what we were focusing on while we were developing Gamerbase. And what was really interesting was that, our partnership with Team BDS was fantastic because, we partnered with them and we knew what we kind of wanted to do with them, and they wanted to get closer to their fans. They wanted to figure out, okay, how can we use blockchain and Web3 tech to, bring the organization and the players closer together, and how can we empower players? And by chatting to each other from the esports team perspective of BDS and the Web3 know-it-all perspective of XBORG, we kind of figured out problems on both sides and then solutions on both sides, and we worked together to kind of come up with this product that we have now, which is Gamerbase, and then the custom fan apps, which is awesome, and it's really going to change how communities and esports teams interact with their fans and players, but then also how players will be able to be empowered going forward. Something that's interesting, and I think that you would be really interested is something called ITOs. We call them initial team offerings, and this is something that we're actually going to cook into Gamerbase as a functionality, because obviously we have our Launchpad, but we can basically put the Launchpad functionality into Gamerbase and into the custom fan apps, so that if a team or community wants to tokenize their organization and basically let their players or fans invest in an early stage, but then also have voting rights and decision-making abilities to shape the organization and to choose which way to go and all that kind of stuff. That's something that we're going to be doing, and Team BDS are really interested in that, which is really cool because they're obviously a huge team. So that's something I'm really excited about, because it'll be a world first for sure, and it'll be nice to see players play a much bigger role in an esports organization besides just sitting on the sidelines and cheering.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, right? Because I mean, like you said, BDS is huge, right? And not only are they huge, they have huge presence with major partners, right? Like Kappa and like all these other great brands, and finding a way to bridge blockchain technology over to the traditional gaming world is something that's always been a huge interest of mine, right? Because I've been a big fan of the esport world, right, in traditional gaming for a long time. Like my favorite organization is Up to Gaming. I mean, I've been a supporter of them since the very beginning, right? If this was an option that would have been around back in those days, right, where it would have allowed me, a fan like me, a super fan like me, to like be more involved with decision making around that org, it would have been completely different, right? So I think that the fact that you guys are thinking of ways of facilitating that service to not only in Web3 companies and Web3 games and ecosystems that are building communities, but also to the traditional gaming side, right? And like helping them find ways to bridge a stronger bond with their communities, right? And provide them a bigger user case, right? Like, I like the idea of what you're mentioning of like tokenizing, and it's almost like building DAOs within gaming organizations, right? Where people can vote and be part of a decision making. So I think it's super cool, man, and props to you guys for being able to accomplish so much in just 2 years. That's insane.
Yeah, thank you.
I
really
think what
appreciate
make
that. Sorry. I,
No,
not
I know that's. I gave you a little
Yes.
bit of time.
yeah.
but that was
Go ahead, Connor. Go ahead afterwards.
Uh, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. But I guess there's still so much work to be done. The My BDS app is not out yet. It's coming out this year, in quarter 1. We also have the other apps are coming out before then, which is super exciting. I would say the one esports team that we partnered with is the biggest esports team in the world. So you can do your guessing for that. But we basically handed over the early access to their app in late December, and they tested it with 100 of their super fans, and they absolutely loved it, which was super cool for us to see. And things are coming out pretty soon, but nothing's done yet. The app needs to be a big success, needs to make revenue, needs to be able to onboard lots of players. We're actually this team has a app at the moment, which we currently going to be replacing 100,000 monthly active users on it, which is pretty cool. But these teams have millions and to onboard millions of players for XBORG to be successful as a business and for these apps to be a successful venture. So we haven't done anything yet. A long road ahead of us, and but super excited for it. But thank you for your kind words.
So I just want to jump in real quick and ask a question. So I've been like going through the website here. And this question kind of goes back to how we found esports players in the past, when it comes to just maybe finding them in high ranking, or maybe finding them in a PC bunk in Korea. I see here that you guys have put a note for player discoverability, right? So you could get like scouted by an esports team, and you could also have like a gaming resume with XBORG. Can you talk a little bit about that process of how you guys go about making that available, maybe with the blockchain technology that we have today?
Of course. So basically how it works is we would be, our credential layer, if a lot of players are using Gamerbase, and a lot of players are using the fan apps that we build, they will be filling our credential layer stats, tournament history, player data from loads of different games, social activity, all that kind of stuff. And what you get is this just like really rich kind of source of information that can be tapped into through different apps that connect to this credential layer. So we're building, obviously currently building Gamerbase and these fan apps, but that's not the only applications that we want to build that connects credential layer and makes use of this kind of data. We'll also plan doing like a big grant program so that other developers are incentivized to build applications that connect to our credential and use, because you want loads of people to have loads of utilities for their data. Players won't be empowered if they can't use their identity, and so that's kind of XBORG's really big vision. And yeah, so one of the use cases could be player discoverability. That's something that we're wanting to build. You could be able to, esports teams could be able to scout players. Something we could cook in, directly into a fan app, or into Gamerbase. You could just search, okay, who are the best League of Legends players based on the stats. I always, in my mind, I was 15 years worth of FIFA manager mode back in my school days, and they used to have this feature where you could search. Where it was this big like kind of database where you can just search. Okay, I want to find the 5 players with everyone who's like got a free kick above 85 or something, and then you could sign them because all the players would just pop up, and that's kind of the same thing. With what we're building, people could build. You could search players based on a certain stat or a certain credential, and they would pop up.
Yeah, I had to jump in there because I love that, and I should have a discoverability feature for kill stealers. Because Hado's player identity would say steals all Mizzy's kills.
Yeah, and on his it would say can't aim for the head because he can't aim for the head.
Oh, man.
I can confirm.
Who are you confirming? Me or Hado?
With you.
Okay.
Confirm there's a confirmation bias going on right now.
No, there's just too much proof online, bro. You can just watch any of our.
Yeah,
old
you're right. There is
VODs.
proof of me getting nothing but
watch it.
headshots. It's crazy when you use a sniper rifle and hit the
This
head.
guy, this guy will get 20 kills and 800 damage in the game, man. It's insane.
Hey, what happened to you in Trap Night, Mizzy? Who killed you a bunch of times in Trap Night? Who did that?
Brother.
Ain't nobody helping me there.
First of all, I'm not. First of all, I'm not a Zoomer or a Twink, so I don't play Fortnite.
Put any label you want. It's sort of an FPS, man.
Sort of.
Take
Sure. Fine. You know what? I'll give you that. I'll give you Shrapnite. I'm not even gonna argue. We'll see what happens when it comes to Shrapnel. That's fine.
Oh, we will. We'll post clips too. Don't worry.
Connor, something I really like about what you mentioned earlier is the ITO factor, right? Initial team offering. Create like a new form of PvP, right? Because what kind of imagine you have this org that's been like kicking your ass, and you get like some sort of grant, and you like ape into their token, and then all of a sudden you start making like fucked up governance decisions. I could, because us at Catalyst, we love to make fun of each other, like fuck with each other and stuff. So I could imagine if there was like an IPO, right, initial player offering, I would buy into Hado's do such shit like all the time.
Your floor price, don't worry.
But yeah, is that something that you guys want enabled on the platform, or are you gonna try to protect people?
I think I don't know if I guess it would be quite interesting to do governance that isn't just based on how much money you have, and then you could just buy all the tokens. I think we will kind of do a mix between reputation based, token based, plus maybe your like activity within the DAO and your contribution. So perhaps a mix of all 3 of those to make sure that we don't get any dumping or flooding or ragging of a team's tokens.
Yeah, I figured it. That's it's gonna be interesting to watch you guys navigate through that, and people are always gonna try to find ways to cheat the system and shit. And to me, like that's the fun part in a way. Like it's not fun to whoever's gonna be going through it, but if you're willing to grab some popcorn and watch it play out, it'll be fun. But something. So to bring it back to like games that are currently coming out or that people are excited about. Power World, right? Have you guys played it? Has anyone at XBORG played it yet? Because it's all the rage on the timeline right now.
I've seen it all over this weekend, right? It's just popped up on my feed this weekend. It's come from, but it looks cool.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying it out. Yeah, it looks really sick. I don't know if anyone in the Discord has been jamming it this weekend. I've been touching grass quite a bit this weekend for the first time in a long time, so that's been good. I've been AFK, and my internet is down as well. I'm dialing in on 5G from my phone because some like my fiber box is not working. So I just decided to. It's also summer in Cape Town. I live in South Africa, so I just decided to hit the beach, get some rest in, because this week coming up is going to be a big one. But the game looks super cool, and I'm sure, some ex-borgers have been playing it for sure. Have you guys been playing it? Is it? What do you think?
Yeah, I was actually just playing it this morning. I think the game is really fun. I actually think I seen a lot, not a lot, but a few people complaining on the TL that it's not too smooth. I disagree. I think the game runs really, really smooth for what it is so far. And I think it's pretty cool that it was developed by an indie studio, right? And it just kind of came out of nowhere. And now we have this product that's very similar to Pokemon in design, but I gotta say the gameplay feels totally different because it does provide the player a little bit more, I guess, like MMO like mechanics where you're like crafting and building and like you just don't receive like the Pokeballs from the professor, right? You have to craft the Pokeballs in this game and kind of like make it yourself and like go use them, right? I like the amount of variety that there seems to be between the monsters or whatever they're called, the pals. And the only thing I did notice is that it felt a little bit too staggered. It felt like everything was in one place in the game, like within the map. I don't know exactly how big this map is going to be. It looks really big, but everything felt like it was right there, right off the start. Like I saw like a huge level 30 like pal that I was like, not even going to attempt to capture or anything like that, but I think it's pretty cool so far. I like all the mechanics, all the little abilities that you have, but I don't know if the rest of the guys have had any chance to play it yet.
I haven't played it yet. Gonna do a review show on it this Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. But I have been watching their social media, and they actually have the highest all-time peak of most active gamers at 1.1 million gamers, right? So like that's the current amount of players playing it right now. That title that was held previously was by Cyberpunk at 1 million. So they've surpassed Cyberpunk, I would say a pretty lucrative, wealthy studio, AAA studio, overnight. So yeah, it's actually really crazy to think about. And this is on Steam, of course, but uh, that's just Steam, by the way. It's also on Epic and it's also on Games Pass, which I have access to. So this is crazy. Like the amount of players that have come and played this game in a span of 24 hours is just crazy.
I do want to bring up though, I one thing that I kind of dislike is that how this game came out of nowhere, right? And it hit the timeline and it became a huge like viral thing going on, right? Mostly because of the association people are having with Pokemon and this game, right? But immediately I started seeing the timeline being flooded with takes like, oh, how come we don't have this in Web3 yet? Or like how come Web3 can do this? And it's like, dude, can we just enjoy the game? For a little bit before we start comparing it right away to what we have in Web3. Uh, like it's just to me, it's two completely different worlds, man. Like there's so much more that goes into Web3 gaming, right? That developers have to figure out. And I'm not saying that it's easier or harder than traditional gaming. I'm just saying like Web3 is really, really young compared to the traditional gaming side of things, right? Like when it comes to like developing studio, like experience, budgeting, access to like funding, right? Like all of these things is completely different. So
Listen,
like I
man.
really like go ahead, Missy. Give me your take on this because to me it's just a bummer.
I haven't played the game yet. I want to play the game. It looks cool. I just found it weird how everyone's like coming up with a thesis and the game hadn't even been out 20 people already like, this is what we need to do in order to get this kind of hype for a game. I'm like, bro, the game hasn't even been out 24 hours yet. How about we play the game first and learn from it objectively, right? Let's not think about Web3. Let's just play the game and be like, holy shit, what did they do to make this a cool game? Obviously, there's a ton of shock value there. Like, I remember when the trailer first came out a couple of months ago, and we were all like, holy shit, it's Pokemon with guns. That's cool. So I think that alone, it was just this extreme thing that you would never expect, right? And that alone was a great marketing campaign. It's not that deep, guys, I promise you. And I think that's why Web3 has had some of the issues that it has. Everyone tries making everything so deep. Like it's imagine a Togepi wielding a gun. Like it's gonna make someone stop and stare for 5 seconds.
Well, I think
Like-
the big
Yeah.
thing to take away from this game, and there's another game. It's Cypher, right? So there's two games out here that are kind of crossbreeding and cross pollinating the kind of genres that they bring out. I think that's what we have to take away from here is that when you mesh different game loops together, you're creating a new game loop. I guess you could throw Mixed Mob in that as well. And I think that's really what needs to be focused on here is like it's not so much that it's Web3 or Web2 or whatever. It's more so that the gameplay loop and mechanics are crossbreeding with each other to create a new form of game mechanic, which is resonating with a lot of players. That needs to be studied and highlighted over anything else.
And that's still way too deep, man. It's memes. It's that simple. It's memes.
I disagree.
It's memes, man, and that's what makes people run. That's what makes people excited. The fact that there's a sheep wielding a sniper rifle is fucking hilarious, man. Like,
Sure,
it's,
but
let's not become over philosophical. Like it's a
It's not-
fucking.
no. What I mean by
No, but I can see Hado's take as well, where if you're providing a new experience in a game loop, right? Especially when the game design is so similar to another game that you've known and that you're attached like in a nostalgic way, right? Providing that new experience in a game loop and
Nah,
like,
man.
making the game loop like more entertaining. Yeah, like
Point.
I
I'm just
think that's
busting his
super fun,
chops.
dude.
I mean, that's what we
He said,
that's what
like,
we
"No,
did in
bro,
fashion.
That's not what it is.
What we did in fashion, like whenever you launch a new brand, they tell you just copy someone else, make it like slightly different, and you'll have a customer base, right? So I totally get it, and he's absolutely right. I just like fucking with Hado. But Connor, what was your game of the week, man? Did you get to play during your time off at all? Like I know your internet's been down, but have you been playing any games this week?
Yeah, I think I actually jammed my first game of ranked on the new Modern Warfare 3. Which was
Oh,
pretty-
let's
well,
go.
I mean,
Yeah.
smashed because I don't know the maps and like not yet and all that kind of stuff. I kind of just hopped in. I was like, here we go, and then we got chat on. But it was lots of fun. Keen to grind. I need to buy a or at least a controller with buttons underneath so that I can slide cancel properly.
Yeah.
Because that's the meta in the game, and apparently bronze ones are slide.
Well, and all the
canceling
people
around.
snaking and all of that.
Like the cracked in this game already. So I don't know where all the Christmas card buyers are, but I'm just getting shot. Me
Dude, I was actually surprised that Modern Warfare was able to come out with rank play, and I think it was like an update to Warzone or something at the same time within 24 hours.
but
Oh, Connor, you totally. You there?
Oh,
Sorry.
oops. Was I talking over him?
Yeah, you
I'm
were.
sorry about that.
Cause does that a
Oh.
lot. Don't.
Yeah, he
No,
does.
but I thought
He
I thought he
does.
was done because he had frozen. My bad on that.
Talks over everybody.
sorry.
Screw you guys, man. No, I mean, listen, man. Modern Warfare is just one of those games I'm not ready to hop back into it yet. Taking a big hiatus from Call of Duty, but I'm just not ready for it yet. But I was impressed to see them come out with rank play within 24 hours. That was surprisingly, that's surprising to me because usually, we don't get that till like mid year or something. So, really cool, man, that was your game of the week. I think for me, I would have to say my game of the week was Legends of Illumia. I think it might be the game of the week for the three of us, actually, because we've been grinding the heck out of it. But it's just another fun MMO experience that Web3 has so far. It's been pretty cool to grind it out and kind of like collect items and earn the token and all that type of stuff. So been having a blast on that.
I don't have a single game of the week.
You've been just grinding everything.
Well, no, we have been playing a lot of Illumia, but during FAFO, like the later hours of FAFO, for those you don't know, FAFO stands for Fuck Around and Find Out, what we do on Wednesdays for our community at Catalyst here. But so we got into Street Fighter, me and Prof, and Kobe was wagering on who was going to beat who. So I won $20. So that was pretty cool. because I defeated Prof. Step your game
Let's
up,
go.
Prof. Train your
What
Ryu.
character were you using?
Ken. It was Ken versus Ryu.
Ken versus Ryu.
And
Let's
then
go.
yesterday, I posted a photo of Halo Infinite character, just me making a new account, just getting back into Halo Infinite, just testing the waters, and then out of nowhere, our one of our thumbnail guys comes out and says, "Oh, Halo, like let's play or whatever," and then Prof is like 1v1 me, and then they started like going at it, like talking shit to each other. And I'm just like here, like I just want to play the game. I don't want to 1v1. Like I'm not good at Halo, right? And so Siege pulls, his name is Siege OC. He pulls up and he's like, pull up to the Discord right now. And so I 1v1 him. He shits on me. Like I get 2 kills. He gets like 23, 24 kills. And I'm over here trying to remember, oh yeah, there's a grenade button. Oh, like I'm trying to like remember the controls. This man is like, totally focused. And then Prof comes in, loses the first game. I start to go into commentator mode or whatever. And then he wins. Prof wins the second game. And then Siege wins the third game. So they like do like a best 2 out of 3. But that was really fun to just see like a lot of people congregate over just one small photo. I didn't make a video. I didn't have a big caption. It was just one small photo that was like low key though. That's all I said. And then they pulled up. And now Prof and Siege are cool. Like they're like, oh, let's play again. Let's get a rematch or whatever. So like, it's crazy to me how things can just be birthed out of thin air in this space. But I just created a little Halo wave, and Prof is like, I hope we can get 4v4s one day with Catalyst. I'm like, I don't know about that, but we could try, I guess. But yeah, that was my game of the week.
I played Halo Infinite. Get the fuck out of here.
They have Halo 3 maps. They have Halo 3 maps. I'm just saying.
Whatever. Yeah, my game of the week, same as college, was Legends of Lumia. I grinded 2 characters. I grinded 1 character to 20, a second character to 28. The game is very early. It has a lot of improvements. I was just happy to play an MMO. I really hope they do more PvP stuff outside of like the dual arena, because I would like a PvP mode in there. I'm really interested in building some sort of nifty map. I was actually talking to Mike about it yesterday, and I wanted to see if we could fuck around with that and build like a really weird experience. So stay tuned for that. I didn't get to play nifty, but I've been watching like a lot of other people's builds and what they've been doing. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, so my game of the week, Lumia, and I'm very interested in trying to fuck around with the nifty builder.
Hell yeah, dude. Actually, the Nifty Island thing, it reminds me a lot of Minecraft, right? And like Minecraft Creative. So I'm super hyped to like build some experiences. And we have some guild members that have been doing an awesome job at that. I know Money has a PvP like map, and then Jaikon decided to recreate Only Up. I have no idea why I hate that game, but I personally it's because I suck at that game. But hey, maybe Nifty's a little bit better of an experience for me.
He's got a lot of work cut out for him to make Only Up. That's
he did it. He did it.
Yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
He did it. He made he says it's pretty hard, so I can only imagine. Like, I don't even want to try it, but I'll give it a shot. But hey, Connor, man, listen, it's been a pleasure having you on here. Can you give us a little bit of an insight of what XBORG starts coming up in the next like 2 quarters or so? What are you guys hoping to accomplish and really close in with the app and all of that stuff? Just give us the alpha, basically.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. First of all, I've loved being on here and hanging out with you guys. Keen to jam some games. I think, firstly, side topic, we should definitely play more games like with each other in Web3 gaming. We're all gamers, and we should all just more often and work a bit less. That would be super cool, because it's nice bonding and connecting with really nice people.
Preach.
Hell yeah, man.
In the space,
hell
right?
yeah.
And then the alpha for Q1, we have so much just starting next week with that announcement on Tuesday. It's going to be huge. Super amped about it, and it looks fucking sick as well. Excuse my language. The trailer is so cool. We have 3 esports teams apps coming out this quarter. Some are going to be launched at major LANs at which is going to be so cool on main stage with some of the biggest esports teams in the world. Game supporting tons of communities, so that's going to be awesome. We're going to keep announcing. We've got a big announcement for GamerBase next week, a big partnership, another massive communities coming on board, and then we have we haven't chatted about XBG, which is our token, but that token is launching in Q1, so stay tuned if you want to get exposure to what we're building, player identities in Web3, and onboarding millions of fans with the biggest esports teams. And that's basically Q1. Q2, we're going to be doing ITOs are incoming, so tokenized sports teams in the world. And that's the alpha. Don't know if I can drop any names on here, but that's the alpha.
No, dude, I love
Expect reckless. Sorry.
No, listen, I love it, man. And personally, I would love to have you guys back on later in the year just to kind of catch up and like talk a little bit more about the platform and any other updates that come up along the way. But guys, Hado, Missy, any closing thoughts before we close this awesome episode out?
Always FNC. I'm looking forward to Power World tonight. Want to get my hands dirty in that game. And I'm just excited for this year. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out and a lot of cool ideas that I learn every single week. Like XBORG is an awesome idea, honestly.
Closing.
Awesome.
Me, XBORG, you guys are awesome. I'm really excited for what you're all building, and I can't wait to watch the announcements and stuff. And Lou, I've gotten a chance to talk to him like once or twice, and definitely a big brain guy, and I always enjoy watching him kind of navigate. Joao, please play a different Web3 game from Alluvium. And lastly, I don't know what I have to bribe some of these Web3 gaming companies to create a Paladin class, but please, for the love of God, playing Illumia, and I would just like a Paladin to with their some shit because I keep dying because I'm a champion, and that sucks. So those are my closing thoughts. Those are my closing thoughts.
Well, listen, man, that's a beautiful closing thought right there. Give my man a Paladin, please. No, listen, thank you so much to all the viewers on X, YouTube, and Twitch. We appreciate you guys so much. And again, thank you so much to Connor for coming on the show with XBORG. Super, super awesome to have you guys on. It's a pleasure. And I look forward to catching up more in our chat and playing together some games. But this has been episode 15 of the Catalyst Effect podcast, guys. We'll be back live next Friday. Until then, we'll see you. Peace.